It is currently 5:14 a.m. on September 4th, 2015, and I'm going to attempt to build a guitar in 24 hours. Here we go. There are so many different processes of guitar making that have to be done in certain orders or need to dry, and to compress all that into a single 24-hour build was kind of, ridiculous, really. Like, it shouldn't be a thing that's happening, but I was always curious if I could do it or not after I built a guitar in a long weekend, so 4 days. I finished it and I played it and I'm like, oh, this is a pretty good guitar. And I built it in 4 days. How fast can I do it? I have this hobby that I just fell in love with that I never thought it would become a company or my full-time thing, but it slowly did. It kind of snowballed into people seeing my first guitar and asking me to build one for them, and then people seeing that, oh, you're building guitars for other people. Can I also have one? And then from there, I just kind of decided that it was something I was going to pursue, and then I very carefully and very slowly started building up the required machinery and tools and expertise to get to where I am today. This is my first time working with redwood, and I knew it was going to be like this. We're off to a good start. Okay. I got one good head plate out of it so far. Let's make another one if we have time. 540. Building guitars for roughly 8 years. Again, I started when I was 16 in high school and kind of started learning about woodworking even, and then specifically relating to guitars. And then right out of high school, I didn't work really. I just started building this up. Eventually moved on to get part-time jobs, full-time jobs for a while here and there. But since high school, this is what I've been doing. Guitar building is basically just basic woodworking over and over again, right? Every step of guitar making is not complicated in itself. It is a basic woodworking operation. Where the difficulty comes in, or at least did for me, is understanding the guitar, right? Like, I can build anything once I understand how it works. But the guitar, there's so many things going into a guitar that will affect that it took a long time to learn all those little intricacies, and then you meet someone who plays completely differently than anything you've ever experienced, and you have to relearn it. So this isn't actually looking as bad as I thought.
Okay. That's good.
Yeah. It's frustrating. We are a bit behind schedule, so we're just gonna have to figure that out moving forward. I broke a head plate as well, and we have to head over to the laser cutter in about 40 minutes or so. So if I have time, I'll make another head plate. If not, we're just gonna be stuck with what we got. But I mean, the sun's coming up now. It's still really early in the day. I feel pretty good. We just have to get over these first couple of hurdles, and we should be good to go. So the reason I'm using this blank here is because we're doing a build in 24 hours, we have to take into consideration some things like stability and glue joints and that sort of thing. So I knew I needed to use a one-piece neck. That way there's no scarf joint, there's no laminate glue ups, save time. And then maple's a really stable wood, and then this is also really nicely quarter sawn, which again will provide stability. Alright, so you'll notice here I left all the material on the top half of the headstock there. What I'm going to do is we're actually going to tilt the bandsaw table to give us the angle that we need here. So on the front side of the blank, I'm just going to mark off roughly what angle I need. This is a scrap fretboard with the same fan that we're using. So that's going to be the angle that I want at the headstock end. So I have a template here that has, I think it's an 11-degree angle headstock break. So I line that up on one side of the line. And then again on the opposite side. Now, as on the end of the blank, I have a point here and a point right there. When I connect those lines, that will give me the compound angle I need. So I loosened off my bandsaw table here so it can tilt. What I'm going to do is I'm going to line up the blade so that's on the same angle as what I marked off earlier. And then going from the furthest forward part of the fan, that's the line I'm going to follow on the cut. And instead of pushing the piece through the blade, I'm actually going to start reversed and do a pull cut. And that should give me pretty close to what my compound angle wants to be. You see here that my cut follows the angle I need for the fretboard, as well as it has that compound angle this way, tilted back the 11 degrees on both sides. There's a couple ways we could get this nice and flat now. We could do it with a hand plane. I found the fastest way, and fast is the name of the game right now, is to use a bench sander. Same idea as what we did on the bandsaw. If you tilt the table, you can get that angle that we need for the fan. What's next? So we did that. We're on the 6 o'clock step. And it is 7. So we have to leave in probably 20 minutes. Let's see if I can catch up. There's no way I can catch up. Whatever. Let's keep going. Okay, next thing that I want to do is install my truss rod. I use the truss rods from Luthier's Mercantile International. Either that or the ones from Allied. Allied just recently changed their design. I have not tried the new ones, but their old ones were pretty good as well. But these ones, they're nice and slim, they work really well, and they're easy to install, just a straight 1/4 inch bit. So I prefer these ones. So what I'm going to do is throw this up on the router table, put a 1/4 inch slot down the middle, and fit the rod in right down the center. still a little bit behind. We pretty much have to head over to the laser cutter, so I'm going to phone James, make sure things are good there. And then we'll hop in the car. We're behind a little bit already. Yeah.
Already?
Yeah. Neck, like, got all, like, gold wavy and stuff. It took forever to fix. We'll be fine. There, I broke one of these already.
Just get it all over the way.
Yeah. Bad morning, we'll have a good afternoon.
Alright. Okay. So that. Okay, this is where the pickups are coming from? And they're oriented that way. Okay.
So you have all the, like, top 3 inches to play around with.
Okay.
A lot of what I do is grain matching. So I like when, you know, there's an uninterrupted look to the top of the wood. So my pickup covers are cut from the exact same piece of wood in the exact same location that they're going to go back into later on. And this creates a uniform look with the grain all flowing through the body, even though, you know, there's a pickup there. And in order to do that, I need such a fine kerf of the cut in order to not interrupt it too much. So I send it off and get laser cut by a company called Sawdust and Noise in Brampton, Ontario. And that just allows me to do things that I was never able to do before. And it's a good example of how technology and, you know, modern stuff can mix in with handwork and, you know, doing things the old school way. So it's always a balance point between those two things, having the computer controlled while still, you know, doing things by hand. That kind of feeds into what my style is a bit too.
Yeah, Sawdust and Noise is a materials processing business. Basically what we do is use high-tech processing equipment to help people manufacture products and crafts for their business or for their personal use. Basically do stuff that cannot be economically done by themselves, and there are very few services available that will do it for them.
Right, yeah, so we are still behind, especially just after coming back from the laser cutter. Felt pretty good right after that because, you know, that went really well, really fast, and those pieces turned out great. When we got back, though, it was one setback after another. The bandsaw blade popped off, and then the Spanish cedar body was not. I misjudged how much I could resaw. Just a whole bunch of not good things. But on the bright side, now that we're using that mahogany body, we actually gained a lot of time back because it's a one-piece body and a one-piece top. So I got that thicknessed out and it looks really nice, so it could be a blessing in disguise. It's hard to say at this point. We're still a little bit behind, but still a lot of day left. And hopefully, you know, people will start trickling in soon and give a bit of a morale boost, and this barbecue should be good. These are supposed to line up with our laser cutted pockets. I must have sent them the wrong drawing because that does not fit. Shoot. Okay. We'll have to figure something else out. I'm just going to put a black veneer in behind the head plate, so the logo is going to show up black. And then if I have time later on, I'll fill that with some clear epoxy or something like that. But for now, in a pinch, this is what we got to do. So I'm going to do it. So I'm going to do that. All I'm going to do is put a block on either side, some Type Bond 1, and put it in clamps for half hour or so. That will let it set up, and then while it's doing that, I'm going to work on the fretboard. Adam from Elysian Guitars designed this table saw jig that can do straight scale or fan fret super accurately and really, really fast. So it has this sled here that rides along our 2 rails. I got the Stumac table saw blade that's the same width as our fret kerf in here, which obviously lines up with the left-hand side of our slot on the jig. We have these 2 pegs here that are a certain distance apart that line up with various holes in our template. So the idea is that we're going to put our first set of holes here, line up, we'll do the slot, and then pop over the next one, which will give us our spacing as well as our fan as we move along. That took 5 minutes. Not bad at all. Alright, so we had a little bit of tear out. I don't have time to make a new fretboard, so we're going to glue this piece back in. Just a little bit of super glue, and then it should clean up. You'll never see it, but you know, we know. So this has been in clamps for about an hour, so we're perfectly fine to take these clamps off. Okay. So the next thing I'm going to do is get the fretboard glued onto the neck. Because we're using 5-minute epoxy, it has to go on in the exact right spot, really fast, and then be in clamps within a minute or 2 at least. Okay, so I got my fretboard clamped onto the neck where I want it. There's no glue or anything yet. And what I'm going to do is I'm taking these little offcuts from the fretboard that have a nice straight edge on it. I'm going to glue these along the fretboard in 4 different spots, just using a little dab of super glue, and that way once I'm ready I can pop these off, put glue on, and the fretboard will index perfectly into that spot.
Tape?
Thank you.
Got you, bro. I got you. Two reference holes in the top that line up with 2 holes in the body as well.
That way when we go to glue it up, we can pop a couple screws in and that will keep everything centered, as well as providing some clamping pressure in the middle.
Won't you come into my home, my clover home?
So around 2:30 or 3 o'clock, we'll pop that out and start doing the rest of the work on the body. But for now, that's as far as it goes.
We begin to find ourselves and realize where we are and the infinite extent of our relationship.
Then I go slow.
The rest of the day could go that fast. Amazing.
What hour are you at now?
It's like 2:30. No, what time is it?
I know what time it is.
Oh, what hour?
How far like in are you?
What, like 10 hours in?
Yeah, we started at 5 and it's 2.
Alright.
I'm bad at math on a good day. We're about an hour behind.
All
Still.
Well, just take an hour off your nap later. So
Yeah.
I can work that.
Oh, you got much? Okay.
Yeah.
The oil I'm using for fretboards and for everything else in this build is Rubio. It dries super fast. Takes one coat to apply, or only needs one coat, and does a good job and gets a nice finish. So this is Rubio Pure. It's just their. So this is Rubio Pure. It's just their kind of clear, natural thing. I usually just apply it with my fingers or with a piece of shirt, something like that. It does a really nice job of bringing out the natural colors in wood. It doesn't tint it too much or anything like that, and just puts a really nice finish on it. The reason I'm doing this now is because I usually glue the frets in individually, and this will prevent any glue from sticking to the fretboard, because this stuff and glue does not get along.
How'd you find that out?
It's 3:23. Oh gosh. There's a thing I can almost see.
Yeah.
Frets are in. Now we're only 2 hours behind. Yay! Hey.
Man, there are a lot of hours in a day.
About 24.
Yeah, about 24, right? But like 24.
Give or take. It seems like a lot less.
It seems like a lot less. Man, oh my gosh, we've been up for like 12 hours.
Yeah.
And we still got 12 to go.
Yeah.
Jeez.
Sorry, it's another bad one. I'm sorry for all the things you do for me. You got me right around your finger again. Don't have to tell me you knew that when you said my words are upside down. Look at her, I see you somehow. Wanna let you know that can't be. I'm losing myself. My reflection, I just see what's left. Walking my way back to me. Through countrysides and highway lines, over seas and foreign skies, I will carry on through summer suns and winter moons, from July all the way to June, I will carry on too. Not in the place that I wanted to be, and I'm half the man that I never thought I'd be. I like to think I've only love to blame, but I love to love you all the same. My words are upside down. Look at her and I see you somehow. Wanna let you know that can't be. I'm losing myself. My reflection, I just see what's there. Walking my way back to me. Through countrysides and highway lines, over seas and foreign skies, I will carry on too. Through summer suns and winter moons, from July all the way to June, I will always love you. I will always love and it's running through my veins. Now it calls me back, how it brings me back to you. I'm losing my head, I'm out of my mind, I'm never alone. my head. I'm out of my mind. I'm in love with you. I'm losing my head. I'm out of my mind. I'm in love with you. I'm losing my head. I'm out of my mind. I'm in love with you.
This is so tight.
And I'm not, I'm on the great friend, so I think I got it.
Yep.
What are you gonna do with all the extra time you got?
Cry.
I think you're gonna do it, but
Whole bunch. It's so tight. Like the time I quoted myself at that second half now because of how far behind I was in the morning. It's like I'm quoting myself working at the fastest I've ever worked. And it's like barely enough. So I just gotta fly.
who's gonna know? You can take the video.
Yeah. I won't say nothing.
Nah, I won't say nothing either, man.
It's gonna cost you. But
No, guys.
Yeah, if you want to lie, you've got support.
Scratch your back, man.
yeah, these guys will nod for a while. You can change.
That's all. Yeah, just change all the
Change everybody's watch.
Weird. I have 12 hours still.
Yeah.
And I napped.
Put your brown.
That's essentially kind of where it started. It was just this one-time thing that turned into something that I really loved doing, and one of the biggest things for me was how much I loved the design work behind it and like the creativity that came with it. It wasn't just, you know, following a pattern and, you know, building a stool off a set of instructions. It was something that I could start with a piece of paper and draw what I wanted to make, and then turn this random idea into something I could actually hold and play and give to musicians and have them play it, and just like have their creativity be played through my creativity to an audience of all these people who are absorbing it, right? It was really cool. It is 9:20 right now. We had a bit of a rough afternoon, but for the most part, we're back on track now. The body is pretty much in a finished state. We had a couple more setbacks that we had to kind of creatively work around, so now we're doing a bit of a different pick guard, which means I gotta do that by hand. And then I just gotta really hammer out this neck as fast as possible, and hopefully the fretwork goes quick. Because right now we're kind of pressed for time. Everyone's getting a little bit tired now, so we just gotta really push through, and hopefully we can make it. But we've had a lot of just weird setbacks today, and just a lot of wasted time trying to fix stuff, some machine failures, that sort of thing. But onward and upward. Let's do this.
I'll never say goodbye to my youth. Don't want to say goodbye to you.
So it's 10:15. Got a few hours left, anyways. Got the neck carved up, kind of rough sanded. So I'll have to finish sand it later on. But I need to get going on fretwork if I
have any hope of getting this finished, I need to get the frets leveled and polished now, so that when I set it up, it's just good to go.
James, you want to double check this for me?
Gosh. Where am I at? Alright, so we are on schedule, surprisingly. There are some hours left. 5, 6, about 5.
11:45
I'm
right
being
now.
told. So I'm kind of on schedule. Still a ton of stuff to do. But if things keep going the way they've been going, it'll be close, but I think we can do it. Void.
I'm just scared. Look at that. Stay
I'm just
away.
like, I'm past
Oh my
thinking.
God.
And I'm more just to a point of just like work until there's no work left.
I sold my heart to a songbird. She played for me the sweetest tune that my old soul had heard in such a long while. And ever since, been singing the same tune. And I can hear you sing. Your song calls to me. It brings me home, no matter where I go. I felt a strange taking over. The whole world now was singing to the tune of my beloved songbird. And every day it still sounded new. And I can hear you sing. Your song song calls to me. It brings me home, no matter where I go.
It is 3:49 in the morning on Saturday. I am completely exhausted. My legs are like numb and sore. There's been a couple of times where I've almost fallen over. But we have strings on the guitar. It is a functioning instrument now. So all we have to do, I'm just going to finish cutting the nut and getting that to play nicely. And then we're going to wake up James and get him to finish wiring in the last couple pickup leads. And then we'll be good to go. So, like I said, it was 3:49. So that means we have an hour and 25 minutes roughly to get this finished. So we're really close. Home stretch. And then bad time. Bad. So I put the pickups in the wrong spot. So we're fixing that, and then James is gonna wire it up, and then we can play it, hopefully.
Such a pretty road. Some let it go. Try to fly. It just feels right. I'm not sleeping. I'm just closing my eyes, waiting for the sun to come alive. Waiting for the sun to come alive.
Started yesterday at 5:14 a.m. It is now 4:55 a.m. on the following day. We have a completed guitar.
Considering the fact that it was built in 24 hours, keeping it in that light, I'm incredibly pleased with the end result of the guitar we made. It is a fully functional, it plays really well, it sounds great. It's a bit different than other guitars I would have made because of the different things that happen during the day, but it's a great guitar, right? And it sounds really good, so I'm very pleased with the end result of it, and I think whoever wins it will be quite happy as well. The 24-hour build was probably one of the dumbest things I've ever done in my life, like, which, you know, isn't that bad. But like looking back on it, like I was miserable like the week after doing the 24-hour build. Like I was so sore and just drained, mentally, emotionally, physically, like just, I was done. So I don't think I would ever want to do it again. The only situation where I might is if someone else filmed themselves doing it faster, and then I would have to beat them, right? It's just the thing. But I think it was meant to be like a one-time thing where I just wanted to see if I could do it. It was more a personal challenge than anything else. So now that I know I can, I kind of just, you know, check that off the list, and I'll move on to the next challenge, which will hopefully let me sleep a bit more.